So there has been, in fact, a development. A judge in Poland very recently has, because as you may know, the Polish Belarusian um, relations as of late have not been the best, especially ever since the full scale invasion of um, Russia on Ukraine, in Ukraine. Belarus, while Belarus might have not sent directly any of its troops or equipment into Ukraine, um, Belarus itself has been used as a springboard from which Russian troops invaded Ukraine. Belarus has been a staunch ally of Russia throughout this conflict, especially considering that Belarus is a de facto puppet state of Russia, that Russia is making big steps in order to turn Belarus into part of Russia. And so, of course, since Belarus is on the side of Russia in this war, Poland and Belarus will jar. They will not be in good relations because, of course, Poland has very decisively taken the side of Ukraine in this conflict, has armed Ukraine with its stockpiles of weaponry of the olden Soviet bloc times, and have received um, a lot of refugees. That all that stuff sort of probably contributed to not good relations between Belarus and Poland. And of course, Belarus has been building up its propaganda machine of how Belarus, which is very ironic considering how that Belarus is just a dictatorship um, ruled by a tyrant called Lukashenko, how basically just recently Belarus has made it legal for Belarusian soldiers to kill its citizens and face no consequences. The Belarusian soldiers have been doing that before, but now this sort of behavior has been enshrined into Belarusian law. So Belarus portrays itself as this place of freedom, this place of prosperity, and sort of juxtaposes itself against Poland, which is depicted as a place of tyranny, is a place where human rights are being violated, and has sort of been making these appeals to Polish people saying, if you're facing bad times, if you're facing discrimination, then you should come to us, to Belarus, and we will grant you asylum. So a certain judge in Poland that has been sort of implicated in a scandal about the Polish judicial system in the times of the Law and Justice Party ruling over the country. This judge, uh, upon feeling, I guess, that charges were being made about against him, that his situation in Poland is worsening, since he has been implicated uh, in the so-called hate affair, which explaining it is not really important for this little segment, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but suffice it to say that the judge felt that he was in trouble legally um, in the new situation of law and justice having lost their power, and has decided to defect. The judge from Poland has decided to quit being a judge and to go to Belarus to plead for asylum status. And the reason that he is giving for the pleading for the asylum status is saying that the oppressive Polish regime has been discriminating against him for his brave views that the Polish government is treating Belarus and Russia unfairly. That for his brave views that Poland should normalize its relations with Belarus as well as Russia. And that the Western propaganda has brainwashed Poland into believing that Russia as well as Belarus are the bad guys. So let's take a look. Because whenever I start a topic, I usually have some sort of an article prepared. Poland probes judge seeking asylum in Belarus for having accessed classified info. This is another aspect of this whole thing. Since this guy was a judge, he had access to a lot of classified information. Classified information which he could have taken and delivered to Belarus, probably as a bargaining chip for getting that sweet, sweet asylum status. So that is another whole aspect of this whole thing. The Internal Security Agency, ABW, Poland's civil counterintelligence, has launched an investigation to ascertain the level of classified information assessed by a judge from the Regional Administrative Court in Warsaw who has sought asylum in Belarus. Belarusian state news agency Belta reported that Tomasz Schmid, a judge from the 2nd Division of the Regional Administrative Court in Warsaw, has sought protection and refuge from the Belarusian authorities. According to the ABW spokesman Jacek Dobrzyński, the ABW is actively examining the matter. The Internal Security Agency today initiated investigative procedures to verify the scope of classified information accessed by the judge from the Regional Administrative Court who requested asylum in Belarus in connection with his function and ongoing cases, Dobrzyński wrote on the X platform. Schmid publicly announced his decision on Monday during a conference in the Belarusian capital. We will watch a fragment of it and I will translate it, of course. He cited disagreement with the actions of the Polish authorities as his reason for leaving the country, claiming to have faced persecution and threats due to his independent political stance. And by independent political stance, of course, what he means is he said that Russia and Belarus are not the bad guys in this whole conflict, that they should be treated better, that Poland should just go on ahead and normalize relations. That is basically what is being said. In addition, Schmid presented a letter addressed to the President of the Supreme Administrative Court in Warsaw, Jacek Chlebny, also copied to President Andrzej Duda, and the National Council of the Judiciary, KRS, resigning from his position at the Regional Administrative Court in Warsaw with immediate effect. The court's schedule indicates upcoming hearings in administrative cases where Schmid is part of the adjudicating panels. On June 4th, he was assigned to classified sessions in a special courtroom of the court regarding cases against the Prime Minister's office involving denial of security clearances for accesses to classified information labeled confidential, NATO secret, ESA secret, EU secret. This development follows the case of senior private Emil Czechko, who fled to Belarus in December 2021. Czechko, a former soldier in the Polish army stationed on the Polish-Belarusian border, was found dead in Minsk in mid-March 2022. The official version of the cause of his death is that he committed suicide. But that's not all when it comes to this thing. That is not all. We're gonna look at a Polish article. We're gonna take a look at a fragment of this conference that we've talked about. It's gonna be probably speaking Polish if I know live, so I'm gonna be able to translate the text of the conference.
Nie będzie to problematyczne sfabrykować materiały.
It will not be problematic to fabricate material.
Pod zarzutem szpiegostwa na rzecz
It will not be difficult to fabricate material to accuse me of being a Belarusian spy.
Białorusi, Rosji, nie wiem, może
or Russia, maybe even China.
Chin jeszcze.
Не будет
Trudno
проблем.
powiedzieć.
Не
It's hard to say.
будет проблемы сфабриковать документы и обвинить меня в шпионаже по отношению в шпионаже для страны России, для Беларуси, может даже и для Китая.
Jeżeli stanę się uzasadnionym celem dla służb specjalnych czy
If I become a target for the special forces, Polish special forces,
polskich, czy amerykańskich, czy
or American,
brytyjskich,
Если я
or
стану
British,
целью для польских спецслужб или американских или британских,
no to oni załatwiają sprawy w troszkę inny sposób.
они делают
then take care of business in a slightly different way. Basically alluding that he'll be killed for his brave stance against Western propaganda, quote unquote.
решают эти дела немного в другой способ.
Czy to wypadek samochodowy,
Это может
I'll probably end up in a car accident,
быть автокатастрофа,
czy samobójstwo, czy
To
inne
może
tego
być
typu
samobójstwo.
zdarzenie.
or I'll commit suicide, or it'll end up in any sort of this. It'll end up in one of these scenarios.
или другие.
I dla mnie powrotu nie ma, jeżeli chcę przeżyć, a jak każdy człowiek chciałbym przeżyć.
Если
There is no return for me if I want to live, and as all people, I do want to live.
я хочу жить, то для меня возвращение является невозможным.
Tutaj pozwolę sobie zwrócić się bezpośrednio do pana prezydenta Aleksandra Łukaszenki.
I will allow myself to address the president of Belarus, Lukashenko, directly here.
Здесь я хотела бы позволить себе обратиться непосредственно к президенту, господину Александру Лукашенко.
Bardzo przepraszam za śmiałość,
Я
I apologize for my boldness,
очень прошу прощения за мою смелость,
ale pozwolę sobie poprosić o opiekę i
ja-
ochronę
but I would like to ask you personally for protection and for care.
хочу попросить о охрану, о опеку
pana prezydenta
I
господина
would like to ask this of the president,
президента.
i Białorusi.
and I would like to ask this of Belarus itself.
В целом Беларусь.
Tutaj jest państwo, w którym można żyć, które ma
This is a country in which you can live,
ogromny potencjał.
Здесь
and this is a country with a huge potential.
страна, в которой можно спокойно жить, страна, в которой есть огромный потенциал.
Ma mądrego przywódcę.
Здесь
It has a wise leader,
очень мудрый руководитель.
Myślę, że Białorusini sami często nie zdają sobie sprawy,
Я
and I think that the Belarusian people themselves sometimes don't realize
думаю, что белорусы даже часто не осознают,
jakie mają możliwości rozwoju. Jest to
just how many opportunities for growth they have.
oczywiście blokowane.
какие
And all those opportunities are, of course, being blocked.
у них большие возможности для развития. Часто это блокируется.
Najpierw próbowano tu zrobić Majdan, nie udało
First, the West has attempted to create an Euromaidan within the territory of Belarus, and it failed.
się.
Сначала здесь пробовали организовать Майдан, но это не получилось.
No to próbowano zniszczyć Białoruś ekonomicznie przez różnego typu sankcje.
And then they decided to try to destroy Belarus through different types of economic sanctions.
Пробовали уничтожить Беларусь с экономической стороны через разного рода санкции.
Też się nie udało.
Это
And that failed as well.
тоже не удалось.
Miałem trochę okazji odpocząć w Mińsku.
I had the opportunity to rest a bit in Minsk.
Zwiedzić to miasto.
I had the opportunity to visit the city itself, to tour the city itself.
У меня была возможность немного отдохнуть в Минске, посетить этот город.
To jest genialne połączenie tradycji i nowoczesności.
Здесь гениальное соединение
It
традиций.
is a brilliant combination of tradition as well as modern. Yeah, it is a brilliant combination of the modern as well as the traditional.
И современности.
I ogromny potencjał na przyszłość.
И огромный потенциал для будущего.
And it has a great potential for the future.
Proszę o status uchodźcy politycznego.
Да, я
I would like to ask for the status of a political refugee.
прошу о статусе политического беженства.
So that's it. That's the video of the conference in which the Polish deserter ex-judge had asked for, had sought asylum in Belarus. Now we're going to go from this to a Polish article. We're gonna round the topic up with the Polish article. We started this segment with an English article. Then we've watched the conference itself, and now we're gonna round it up with a Polish article about this topic. Polish judge ran away to Belarus. It's Tomasz Schmid from the hate scandal, which again, we're not gonna go super much into the detail of the hate scandal here because it's actually, the details of the scandal are not relevant to the whole defecting to Belarus thing. The broad strokes of the hate scandal is that this judge has been implicated in the harassment of judges that were independent from the law and justice government. That is the basic gist of the whole hate affair, the hate scandal. The administrative judge Schmid has asked for asylum, political asylum, has asked Alexander Lukashenko for political asylum. During a conference, he said that he ran away from the pressure of the Polish government. It is probable that the judge expected to be tried for the so-called hate scandal, because the investigation when it comes to that scandal has picked up pace. So he basically was afraid of being tried for a thing that he did during the government of the Law and Justice Party, and he decided to run away from the country. That is the basic gist of the real cause of what happened with the whole running away. Tomasz Schmid, on the photo above, is a voivodeship judge of the administrative court in Warsaw. He rolled in the second section, where he, among other things, took care of cases regarding officers, army officers and special forces. Those were his cases. He took care of cases of uniformed officers, and so the army officers and special forces. He also took care of top secret information, things of regarding state security, and he also took care of access to such information. He became an administrative judge in 2012. Before that, he was a judge in the city of Płock. On Monday, 6th of May 2024, before noon, Mr. Schmid appeared in a press conference in Belarus of the information agency Belta in Minsk, and pleaded to the Belarusian government for protection. And here is the part which we already translated from the conference, that I would like to address President Alexander Lukashenko directly. Tomasz Schmid, right after the press conference, published his first entry on the Telegram social media. And on Telegram, he has published the photographs of his letters of resignation. And the justification of his resignation, he wrote, "My resignation is a form of protest against the unjust and hurtful policy of the Polish government against the Republic of Belarus and the Russian Federation. This act is a form of protest against the action that is aimed at putting my country of Poland in a direct conflict against the Republic of Belarus and the Russian Federation." So that is basically it. May in the afternoon, the Polish prosecutor's office have started an investigation in this matter, and the Judge Schmid officially is just on holiday. Up to this point, the court has not received his resignation. As unofficially sort of ascertained by Oko Press, Schmid arrived at Belarus via Turkey. He arrived in Minsk at the beginning of May and has been there for a few days. It is probable that the Belarusian government has been waiting for the ending of the May weekend in Poland in order to do its propaganda presentation, the propaganda conference with the judge. The judge has said that his leaving of Poland is mainly caused by the political situation, pressure that he had to endure. He said, in just 2 or 3 months, it would have been too late for me to leave. Belta, the Russian sort of information thing, Belta adds that the judge has been persecuted in Poland and that he had to endure threats because of his brave stance against the status quo of seeing Belarus and Russia as the bad guys. At the same time, Schmid added that his decision was a call for to the Polish government to normalize the relations between Poland and the Republic of Belarus and the Russian Federation. So it's de facto also a call to stop supporting Ukraine while we're at it, which is sort of implied here. If Poland was to normalize quote unquote relations with Russia, it would mean also not really supporting Ukraine anymore. Schmid stressed that the West did not. Schmid stressed that the West was not able to destroy Belarus, and then he goes on to say the things that he said during the conference, that it tried to organize a Euromaidan, that it tried to do the sanctions, and none of that worked. He praised Belarus again. Quote, there's a quote from the conference that I've translated here. It's the standard narration that has been spoken by other Polish people that ran away to Belarus, and they were used as propaganda pieces. Schmid is not the first person to defect to Belarus. Emil Chechko is the person that first ran away to Belarus and was used as in such way. Emil Chechko had problems with the Polish law. He served on the Polish-Belarusian border and deserted, going to the Belarusian side. Upon arriving in Belarus, he started He started spreading false information about mass murders of migrants in Poland. After some time, it turns out that he has been found dead. According to official sources, Emil Chechko committed suicide. The Belarusian government is using Polish people in more and more professional ways to build its own image. Since 2023, there is an ongoing campaign, an ongoing Belarusian propaganda campaign that is directed at Polish citizens. There's a radio called Radio Belarus, which airs in Polish. And there's an organization, a Belarusian organization, that declares to be on the side of human rights. Right? And it's directed at it's directed at the Polish citizens. The Belarusian propaganda programming is aimed at Polish people, and it tells them that should they have any problems within Poland, they should go to Belarus, because they will be given protection against the Polish government, which apparently is fundamentally against human rights. And at the same time, Belarus sort of presents itself as a very prosperous and great country that absolutely respects human rights, and is absolutely not just a dictatorship of Alexander Lukashenko. And so that's it. That's basically it. A Polish judge wanted to escape justice in Poland because of an unrelated case that started because the Law and Justice Party persecuted judges that were independent of Belarus. Sorry, that were independent of the Law and Justice Party. This particular judge was implicated in this case. There was a whole investigation that started among other people against him, and he basically decided to flee the country because before the investigation would reach him, and basically said that he was running away because he was persecuted for his brave views on the Polish, Belarusian, and Polish Russian relations. So that's it. That's the topic. That's the topic. The only serious questions that remain are just how much top secret information did this judge take with him to Belarus?